Hey everyone, Matt here and welcome back to Hiveswap Friendsim. In the last video, quite a while ago, by the time I'm recording this one, we finished Volume 12. And in today's video, we'll be starting and finishing Volume 13. Volume 13 of Fate, Fortune, and Fashion. There isn't too much to say beforehand, so let's get started. Blah blah blah, friendship blah. Boldir, Lamanti, and Stelza Seziat. Let's go, Boldir! Also, I apologize if my mouse clicks are heavily picked up with my mic. You just aren't feeling it today. You're getting more and more of these gray nights recently. Nights where the call of the streets, that infinite ramble for companionship, just sounds exhausting and meaningless. You've had days like this back on Earth too, when getting out of bed just didn't seem worth it. The sun is just beginning to slip under the horizon, and usually this would be the sign to rise and shine, or rise and dark. But all you've managed to do so far this evening is make yourself some coffee. You've recently mentioned to Gora that you drink instant, and he was so disgusted that he gave you a coffee machine. He claimed it was an old one he doesn't use anymore, but still had the price tag on it. On the table, 6 Palmas, Conil, had taken off a dead kid especially for you, and cradled in your hand is a mug Skylescent. It looks like she painted it herself. There's a white blob on one side that you think is supposed to be Lady. You're even wearing the hoodie Malik gave you to get the evening chill. Here you are, all wrapped up in the warm embraces of your friend's goodwill. Safe and sound, but deep inside you festers something. A gnawing existential dissatisfaction. That classic angst the philosophers wrote about. Your palmas chimes and you pick it up lazily. What, another rando trying to slide into your DMs? Sorry folks, you just don't have time for that anymore. You're a friendship connoisseur. A sommelier of the rarest of amicable vintages. You unlock the screen to find a message. Psst. I'm not certain that this line is secure. Actually, I'm positive that it isn't, but I'm risking contact because it is imperative that we speak. I'm sending you rendezvous coordinates. If you wouldn't mind coming anytime after the sun is set? Psst. I realize that this is unorthodox, but please believe me when I tell you this is not a trick or a trap. I have important information regarding your place on Alternia. You attempt to reply to the message, but there isn't a cursor or anywhere to input text. In fact, there doesn't even appear to be a messenger app open on your phone. It's just a random text box flowing in the void. You barely have a chance to read it all the way through before it vanishes and Google Maps opens with an address already programmed in. It's close enough to walk to, which is great because using your stolen skull buggy still makes you a little nervous. You swallow the rest of your coffee and grab your shoes. Your GPS leads you to a shop you recognize. It's the cafe from your weird sort of date with Linera. It's not too crowded at this time of day. The usual studying crowd doesn't appear to be here. A couple trolls are sitting around sharing pots of tea. Fool! Fucking idiot. I explicitly stated I wanted essence of Dayglow, not whatever this garbage is. Oh, you know this person. It really has been a minute, hasn't it? Ardata stands in front of the counter, shouting at the cash register. Whatever on-make system runs the shop has apparently gotten her order wrong. What are you looking at, This is absolutely none of your... Oh, it's you. Ardata swiftly covers up her surprise, examining a sharp, perfectly shaped nail. You look... different. Better? Let's not exaggerate. I simply meant you looked less like toxic waste and more like run-of-the-grain grinder garbage. You tell Ardata that's good to see her too. Man, this really takes you back. You'd been so simple back then, so unevolved. You were laser focused on a single desire. Friendship. Now, well, you still like to make friends. You really do. But you also have, like, a car and a sweatshirt with somebody's sign on it. You've moved up in the world. Fascinating. Oh, by the way, is she the one who summoned you here? Summoned? You? You must be joking. I haven't spared a single solitary thought for you since you dragged your wretched carcass out of my hive. Absently, you push your hand into the pockets of your hoodie. Something crinkles between your fingers, and you pull out a folded piece of notebook paper. Okay, this definitely hadn't been in there when you left your hive. You pass a couple people in the street, but you definitely don't remember any of them getting close enough to slip something in your pocket. Huh. It only says 2 words. Outback. Oh man, should you go? Backyards are as bad as basements. No way. Okay, listen, you've done some pretty dumb stuff since you crash landed here. For instance, following the woman standing in front of you into her basement. But not this time. Nice try, Catfisher. Important correspondence? Nah, you crumble the page up in your hand. Nothing that can't wait. Good. Impeccable timing. Just what I was hoping you would say. Friend blocked. Well, back to the grind. Go, go, go! Let's be real here. If you were ever going to refuse a suspicious invitation, you would have done it by now. You would have drawn the line at vehicle theft or murder church or anime club. You can't resist a social engagement. Your tragic flaw. Okay, I guess. Enjoy yourself. You head back through a beaded curtain, half expecting an alarm to ring. How do they keep people from just robbing stores here? Are there, like, lasers and shit? You emerge into a tidy little back garden. None of the plants here are ones you recognize from Earth, but still nice. You cross a bridge over a slow-flowing stream. Find yourself looking down at a path that blooms into a tight, dizzying spiral. Maybe you're supposed to walk across it and ponder your place in the universe? Your contemplation would be ineffably cut off before it hits its climax, because someone is sitting at the center of the spiral. She is a small, compact shape with her hair cut short and choppy around her chin, wearing a shapeless white dress, really more of a robe. Psst, I've been waiting for you. Thanks for coming. She speaks in a stage whisper, low and full of air, but still loud enough to hear across the path. You pick your way carefully across the spiral, making sure not to mess any of it up, trying only inside the lines. The girl gives you a small, secretive smile. My name's Boldir. You ask her if this is her garden. Does she live here? It's nice, but it's not exactly out of the elements. Actually, it looks like there's some storm clouds rolling in. We're probably going to get rain soon. Oh yeah, my recuperator is over there under that tree. She smiles again, and you can't tell if she's messing around. In fact, she is entirely unreadable. Like her face is a totally reflective surface, and all you're seeing is the cloudy sky in the garden. You can't tell how she feels about you at all. Would you like to sit down? Inside the circle, or... She looks around like she is only just realizing she is at the center of a complicated geometric pattern. It doesn't matter. I only wanted to see if you would follow the path or trample through it. But you did neither. You forged your own way while taking care to preserve that which has come before. You ask her what that means. Maybe nothing. I'm not sure. The wind tosses her hair, and the clouds chase each other across the sky. If the rain comes, it will be soon. Boldir continues to look at you as you shift awkwardly and shiver, pushing your hands into your hoodie. This is different than any other friend meetup you've had, even with the others who purposely sought you out. There's a serenity to Boldir that all the rest lack. Or maybe that's just the zen as fuck garden getting to you. Try and remember what Boldir said to you in the message, that she somehow managed to make appear on your phone and then immediately self-immolate. That she has some information for you about your place on Alternia or some shit like that. Did I say that? I guess I did. I suppose I wanted a chance to talk to you a bit before the end. I was starting to feel a little... jealous, maybe? Right, you guys, everyone has been going on about the funny dumb alien robot who's been prowling the countryside. No, that's not it. Though I'm sure you're very funny. I just wanted a chance to talk to you. Someone who is so adrift in the swell of fate and the whims of the paradox. Paradox? You don't know anything about paradoxes. Well, you know what they are, you just don't see why they're relevant. They aren't. Paradoxes aren't relevant by their very nature. It's the essence of that nature that makes them so integral to this story. You shake your head. You're not built for this cosmic stuff. You're just an orphan from Earth with quick fingers, for spaceships and apparently vehicles. Boldir gives you another sly smile. Oh, quick fingers? You blush. You hadn't meant that as a dirty joke or anything. Also, your fingers are nowhere near as quick as hers. She somehow got a piece of paper in your pocket while you were standing in a cafe and she was back here. That's like reverse pickpocketing through astral projection. Boldir laughs. She stands up and moves across the garden path, following the spiral so swiftly and efficiently that she might as well be floating. She drifts over to one of the trees, pulling a coat down from where it's slung over a branch. It covers her from chin to ankles, coming together to form an olive green symbol on her chest. that looks like a question mark without the dot. A broad-brimmed hat finishes out the ensemble. Well, I can't teach you astral projection, but pickpocketing is actually quite simple. Would you care to learn? Ideally, we'd need a third person to act as the mark, but I think we can make it work. More crime, huh? Sure, let's do crime! This whole mess started with the theft of a spaceship, and Boldir's right about all that fate horse shit that was supposed to happen, so maybe you'll lean into it. Perfect. The first and most important aspect of the art of pickpocketing is staying unobtrusive. You think about mentioning that walking around in a great big coat and floppy hat is not the most unobtrusive thing you've ever seen, but you aren't the expert here. Also, you're an alien, so you don't really have room to talk. Maybe you should get a big coat like that yourself. You just love ripping looks off of all your friends. Boldir takes you through the basics of criminal sleight of hand, and on the whole, you aren't too bad. In fact, you think you might have a future in it if you weren't already on the career path of professional friendshipper. You don't know what this has to do with her learning about you or teaching you your place on Alternia, but it's fun and Boldir is a good teacher. If there's one thing this journey has taught you, it's that when something isn't actively painful or destructive, just write it out. You don't think you'll be going around pickpocketing main trolls. Enough of them already want to kill you, but it's good to have this skill on reserve if you ever need cash fast and don't feel like hitting up any of your rich friends. I wonder if Boldir uses it for anything besides passing notes. Psst, my sources tell me you've been on Alternia for almost 3 paragraphs now. You have no idea how long a paragraph is, but what the hell, sure. Impressive. No wonder. She trails off thoughtfully and shakes her head. You wish she would say something with some substance to it, instead of just vague nonsense. But at least she isn't threatening you with violence or trying to stick wires into you, so you're counting this interaction successful so far. Also, you feel weirdly chilled out with Boldir. Sure, you want to be friends, but there's none of that stomach-churning, spine-bending desperation to make sure she likes you, at whatever the cost. You feel more awake than you have in weeks. Man, you've got to learn to pickpocket in a garden behind a cafe more often if this is what it does to your stress levels. Want to get something to eat? Or maybe just coffee, because that's what they serve you. Sure, you could use another caffeinated beverage on top of the other caffeinated beverage you had earlier. Why not? You'll sleep when you're dead. If only. You follow her out of the garden and back into the cafe. Who is this now? Yet another friend? Oh, Ardata! You're still here. Of course I am, fool. You were back there for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Wow, it felt like way longer than that. Guess you underestimated the power of a good training montage. You introduce Ardata to Boldir with the cheerful earnestness of someone who has forgotten the systemic classism of the planet on which they currently reside. Ardata stops you with an aristocratic sneer. Stop. Before I have to stop you myself. I have absolutely no desire to mix with those so low on the social ladder. What in the world could she have to offer me? You shrug. You're not sure. Maybe friendship? You know friendships between people of different castes are possible. You've seen them happen. Regardless, you feel bad for exposing your newest friend to the vaguely nonsensical abuses of your oldest. Turn back to Boldir to apologize. Find her gazing coolly at Ardata, like she could do it all night. There's none of the fear or reverence or false obedience you've seen other lowbloods display to blues. Instead, Boldir looks at Ardata like she's a bug. Worse, a pebble that she would just love to kick out of the way. Psst. Nice to meet you in person, Miss Carmia. I hear your GrubTube channel has been losing subscribers recently. I wonder why that is. Blue hits Ardata's cheeks in an angry flush. I'm currently on hiatus. The old garbage was getting tired. I have so many imitators that my own content is starting to seem derivative. She gives one of her maniacal laughs, but it's a little less robust than usual. Man, the wild tundra of internet fame really is a stark and arid battleground. In fact, I have a new feature in the works as we speak. She holds up a little vial she'd been haggling with the cash register over earlier. Poison. I think the best and most expedient process would just be to dose my featured guest food and then hide the antidote somewhere in my hive. Unless you have another idea? She smiles, sly and mean. Boldir smiles back, just as vicious. Great, have fun with that. While Boldir talks, her eyes start flicking from you to Ardata and then down. Again and again. You, Ardata, and down. It takes a couple of go-rounds before you realize what she is telling you. She keeps looking down to your hands, which are stuck in your hoodie pocket, exactly where you found the note Boldir slipped you. Ardata is carrying a bag that looks expensive and extremely goth, and you can see where the vial of poison is sticking out. Oh man, you know what you have to do. When a group comes into the shop and pushes past the three of you, you move in on Ardata and slip a hand into her bag, palming the smooth, cold vial. She gives you a weird look, like, why are you suddenly all up on me, peon? But she doesn't notice the theft. I suppose I'll be going now. And if I were you, I'd be more mindful of who I choose to associate myself with in the future. You say bye to her feeling the tiniest bit guilty, but she's planning to use this poison to do murder theater in her prison basement, so you don't feel that bad. Take care now. Ardata leaves and Boldir takes an inquisitive step closer. Psst, show me. You open your hand and it is white as spoils, flushed with criminal euphoria. Oh hell no. You grabbed the wrong fucking vial. This one is blue, not red. You grabbed the antidote, not the poison. God, Wesley thought you were moving past these kinds of cock-ups. Oh, damn. Well, at least you have antidote now. You never know when one of those might come in handy. She sways forward and clutches at her neck. For one confused second, you think she's doing an impression of someone who might need an antidote. Then she falls to her knees. You dart forward to catch her before she can totally eat it. She's heavier than she looks. Compact muscle and a coat full of ungodly number of weapons. She has like 4 guns in here. What the hell? Your arms are full, so you can only watch, helpless, as a troll in a hood that covers their face and their horns books out the door. Shout that some fucker just stabbed your friend, but nobody here is looking at you. The same way people on Earth might ignore a mother trying to calm a toddler throwing a tantrum, just turning their eyes away from a distasteful public scene. Ow. Damn it. You put a hand up to Boldir's neck to try and staunch the bleeding, but there isn't any bleeding. Bewildered, you pull apart the lapels of her coat to see a single drop of olive blood trembling above her collarbone. Discoloration spreads and a dark spill over her neck and radiating down her chest. You both say it at the same time. Poison. You open your hand to look at the tiny blue vial, then back up to Boldir. Her eyes are glassy, her skin going blotchy and ashen. There's no reason to believe that Ardata's poison and the poison the assassin used are the same, with the same antidote. Ari strains the powers of coincidence that you grabbed the antidote at all. You're probably right, but maybe you should try it anyway? I can't feel my legs. Right. Maybe the mere fact that this is such an unlikely happenstance means it will be the right antidote. Everything you've done so far has had the pull of inevitability to it, especially all of your interactions with Boldir. Great. Awesome. I'm glad you realize that your inherent significance to this particular microcosm of causation. Now can you please pour that stuff in my mouth so I can swallow it and possibly not die? You help Boldir tip her head back and put the vial to her lips. At the last minute, you wonder if it's supposed to be diluted, but Boldir gulps the whole thing down and immediately begins to shake. Smoke billows out of her nostrils and open mouth, and holy shit, what's going on? This doesn't seem like any type of antidote to you. Then the smoke clears and Boldir opens up her big yellow eyes. How does she feel? Alive? Marginally. She lets you help her to her feet. You immediately pull her into a fierce yet gentle hug. It's wild to undergo someone else's near-death experience. You feel like you know her way better than one montage scene's worth. Another new friend. Oof, not so tight. You ease up a little. All the tea sippers are staring at you now. Death apparently isn't interesting, but the possibility of some quadrant-adjacent stuff there are suddenly all about. Sorry, assholes. Just you and your new friend, sharing a touching post-near fatal encounter. Nothing to see here. Didn't die! Sweet! And back to Stelza Seziat. Okay, so, it turns out, selling a car was easily one of your better impulse decisions. You've gotten accustomed enough to its weird insides by now that the squishiness doesn't much faze you anymore. It still feels like the warm stomach of some giant creature, but you actually find it kind of comforting. You just let yourself get enveloped by the seat while the autopilot does its thing. Getting ferried through the streets of Alternia with your feet up on the dash sure beats endlessly pounding the pavement. Sometimes you even throw Surava's stream on your phone if you really want to get a chill vibe going. You're surprised they haven't been caught yet, dastardly carjacker that you are, but maybe you're a better thief than you've always thought. A possible career change to look into if you ever get back to Earth. Downside is that it's a little difficult for you to further your goal of gathering even more friendship from the inside of a vehicle. So you'd park the skull buggy and expose yourself to the messes of the outside world once more. You're in what looks like some sort of residential neighborhood. It isn't as nice as the blue blood neighborhoods you've seen, but still nice enough for most of the apartment complexes to have imposing locked front gates and security drones. But of course you can't take a leisurely stroll on Tirona without something terrible happening. You aren't out here for very long before it starts raining. Shit! Damn! And fuck! You ditched the umbrella Tirona had given you since it was heavy as a goddamn club, and now you're super regretting it. Running for shelter is all you can do, so you make a mad dash for one of the building awnings, huddling uncomfortably underneath it. The rain doesn't let up. You'll have to move soon. The security drones are beginning to look like they're planning on taking a few shots at you for loitering. You need to make a decision, and fast. Try and get into one of the buildings. There's no way you're getting into any of these without a passcode. But wait, you think you see someone coming your way. Perhaps they'll be your knight in shining armor? So what you're telling me is that my appointment is cancelled. You're still some distance away, but she's looking right at you. Point at yourself questioningly, thinking she might be talking to you, but then you realize she's wearing a Bluetooth headset. Jerome used to be so on the ball. Remember the time he gave me a full-prong beautifying procedure right after that high blood ripped his arm off? But now he can't bounce back from one little thresher in the abdominal sausages. What happened? That boy's losing his touch. Looks like she's coming back from a jog, if the running shorts or anything go by. If she's at all bothered by the acid glancing off her skin, saying dozens of little firecracker sparks in their wake, she isn't showing it. She seems much more preoccupied by the harried conversations he's having on the phone. Most importantly, she's power walking to the entrance of this building, which must mean she lives here. This is your chance. You shovel along under the awning, pressing yourself close to the side of the building, bug-like. You sort of wish she'd encountered you earlier when you were dodging rain like a rad action hero. Now you just look sort of cowardly and pathetic. Especially compared to her. She's striding along like absolutely nothing is gonna get in the way of whatever business she's got going on, let alone a few paltry explosions. Actually, she's so focused on her call that she doesn't notice you until you're standing right next to her. Such an inconvenience. You can fully expect that I will be taking my business elsewhere from now on. Oh my, what do we have here? She transitions from hanging up the call to talking to you so quickly it makes her head spin. Take this down. Strange little homeless creature parked in front of my home, very puny and scared looking. Can only be the alien everyone has been talking about. Such an opportunity can't go to waste, now can it? You're confused again, looking around to see who she might be talking to, but there's nobody else here. Maybe she's dictating notes to her phone? Look at you, we can't have you wandering around outside like this, darling, can we? Aren't you ravishing? Do give me the name of your stylist. So good to meet you. Here's my card. The name still's a Sizian. Jesus Christ, these words. Audit terrorizer in training for the Alternian Empire. Nice to meet you. Let's walk and talk. Didn't realize that borrowed hoodie was that impressive of a look, but okay. She produces a business card with one hand and then puts some numbers into a panel with the other. You take the card. It's a struggle to process what she's saying, respond to her questions, introduce yourself, all while experiencing the verbal equivalent of getting hit by a truck. How is it possible to talk so fast without taking a breath? You can barely get a word in edgewise. Stelza continues chattering away as she steps inside and waits for you to follow her into the apartment building's elevator. You do. So tell me, do you run any businesses on your planet? If you do, I'd be more than happy to offer my services. They are very efficient and affordable, I can assure you. All your legal and financial documents will be checked over in no time. I'll make sure everything is running at tip-top shape. I'm so happy to have run into you. Ever since ZZ told me she'd met you, I've been asking her to introduce me. It's so very important for a professional to continue growing her network, especially intergalactically, don't you agree? She is still busying herself with her phone while talking to you, typing on its tiny keyboards now. The name ZZ doesn't ring any bells. You flip through the Rolodex in your brain, trying to remember. Have you really made so many friends that you're beginning to forget their names? You're a little impressed with yourself. It feels like only yesterday that you were crawling around in the basement of a murderess and getting stabbed in the shin with a screwdriver. Just a single friend to your name. Good times. You've come so far since then. It brings a single sentimental tear to your eye. Wait, Celsius' own name finally starts to register. You've heard it before. This is Tiziaz's bait spray, so she must be talking about Tiziaz. Murderous is stabbing. Very fascinating stuff, I'm sure. Yes, I'm referring to my darling Tizias, of course. You're at the door to her hive. She unlocks it, letting you both in. Come in. Welcome to Tizias. Make yourself at home. Can I get you anything? Water, grub cake, my rate sheet? I would love to continue our chat while I'm a little less sweaty. Also, acid wreaks absolute havoc on the skin. You know how it is. I'll just jump into the absolution trap for a minute. Please excuse me. It won't be long. Back in 2 shakes of a quack beast's gastric evacuation pillow. Actually, you wouldn't know how it is, considering that a bucket load of acid falling on you would leave you either very injured or very dead, and she's already gone. You're a little relieved. It's not that Stelza isn't friendly. She's plenty friendly. She just approaches friendship in a way that makes you feel like that. In a way that makes you feel a little like a line on her to-do list that she's in a hurry to check off. Or, well, she seems like she wants... Jesus. Or, well, she seems like she wants you as some sort of contact, not a friend. But that's okay. You've worn many hats in the pursuit of friendship. Clown cultist, impromptu shush papper, murder accomplice, business associate is one of the tamer ones on the list. Now that you no longer have to keep up with her mile-a-minute conversation, you can take a proper look around her hive. You're not sure what's more perturbing. The sheer amount of pink that's accosting your eyeballs, or the fact that everything is so painstakingly organized that's making you a little uncomfortable. It's like you merely standing here is disrupting the careful order of the room. Her shelves are crammed full of books, all neatly arranged according to topic, with each topic displayed on a little label on each shelf. She also has a lot of posters featuring motivational slogans underneath striking nature photography. The only normal-looking spot in the hive is a coffee table with a mishmash of personal belongings piled on top of it. Books, papers, a jacket. You think that might be a mug? None of those items strike you as being particularly Stelza's style. The overall effect is that of a very pink, very neat office cubicle. You almost feel like you should start chugging mediocre coffee and complaining about how much you hate Mondays. So sorry to have kept you waiting. Stelza reemerges, her hair wrapped in a towel. Well, it's been a blast getting to know you. We should get lunch sometime. Keep the conversation going. I'll pencil you in, darling. But for now, I have a bit of a dilemma to deal with. That sounds worryingly like a dismissal. You take a glance at the schedule on her bulletin board. It's a blaze of color with barely any free slots. You don't want to be penciled in. You have no idea when she might be available next. You need her sweet, sweet friendship now. Maybe whatever problem she has is something you can help with? Unless you're a ludicrously talented beautician, I think not. My usual place bumped me off their list and right before a very important meeting, too. A girl has to look her best for these things to really knock their socks off. If I want to make arrangements at another salon, I shall have to move fast. No time to waste. Who needs a beautician when you're around? You have absolutely no professional beauty experience, but Saraba did give you that crash course in crafting great looks. Stelza is probably after a vibe that's a little less moisture wave, but you're sure you can whip something up. You tell her that you'll help her get ready instead, right here in her hive. Woo! How nice of you! I've never had a house call before. Let's do this! She leads you into the next room, rubbing her hair dry as she goes. There's a cup cream in one corner and a vanity in the other, with an array of poofs, brushes, and other mysterious implements spread out on its surface. Some of them are disturbingly pointy. Oh well, you're sure you'll be able to figure out what they're all for once you start using them. Stelza takes a seat in the chair in front of her vanity, folding her primly in her lap. So, darling, what do you think we should do first? It's all up to you. Not this again. Why are you always making all the decisions around here? What you wouldn't give to be able to foist your own life choices off on random people you've just met. It would be refreshing. Style hair! First order of business should be drying Stelza's hair. You pick up a funnel-shaped doohickey that looks like it might be a hairdryer. Fumbling around for a button, there isn't one. But you manage to turn it on by giving it a good squeeze. The mouth of the funnel opens up wide, emitting a hot blast of air along with a hoarse animal yell. You think you might actually see teeth inside? Just don't think about it too much. That's the best you can do when it comes to literally any Alternian gadget. Thankfully, the noise soon fades to a low hum. Here, use this. Stelza passes you a piece of thorny bramble. It looks painful. When you begin brushing Stelza's hair, she sighs happily. Interesting, being in this position for once. When Tizias is over, usually I am the one doing this. Try to imagine Tizias letting someone give her a sweet do. Even when it's her girlfriend in question, you have a hard time picturing it. Stilza laughs. She has a surprisingly pretty musical laugh. No, my dear Zizi isn't one for involved beauty rituals. She usually doesn't let me do more than just brush it, but it's still relaxing. Sliding the brush through Stilza's hair is pretty relaxing. You allow yourself to zen out for a moment before shaking yourself out of it, casting around for something to talk about. That's what good hairdressers do, right? Strike up a casual conversation? Your eyes fall on an open book sitting on the table. It's the only object that doesn't have anything to do with hair care or beauty, so it stands out like a sore thumb. Just like the items on the coffee table, it's strewn too haphazardly to look like it belongs to Stilza. You think you see some of the tabs Tizias was using on the notes for a group project. And if you look even closer, you think you catch the words revolt and history in the page header. Right, as Tizias made Sprit, Stilza probably has big plans for dismantling the system from inside too, after she becomes an auditor. You remark that you think it's really cool what she and Tizias are doing. It might be scary to stick it to the man like that, but someone has to do it. Okay, it's not exactly like conversation, but talking to Tizias about this had been so enlightening, if sad, and you'd really bonded over it. Maybe you'll be able to bond with Stilza the same way. But Stilza only looks confused. Then her eyes flick down to the book, just for a second, before she reaches out, smartly snaps it shut, and squirrels it away in one of the drawers. The sound of the drawer slamming makes you jump, and you narrowly avoid pulling Stilza's hair. I'm quite sure I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sticking anything anywhere. Definitely not to any man, and neither is Tizias. She's sitting straight and tense in the chair now, her voice soaring to a high bordering on hysterical pitch. Oh no, she probably doesn't know you're on their side. Tizias might not have told her about your conversation. That's okay, you're not going to tell anyone. You're sworn to secrecy, but Stilza averts her eyes, a stubborn set to her chin. Again, I have no idea what you're talking about, not a single clue. Tizias and myself are both law-abiding subjects of the Empire. We don't dabble in such foolish things as sympathizing with rebels. What would that possibly accomplish? She wrings her hands distractedly. We do things the way we do on Tirona for a reason, darling. Without the emo spectrum and the roles we each need to play, why, the world would be plunged into complete chaos. Can you even imagine? Trolls running around, not knowing which way is up, doing whatever they please, no one to tell them what their place in the world is. She goes from hand-wringing to gesticulating wildly, almost knocking a row of jars off the table, positively frantic at the prospect of societal breakdown. It's better for everyone this way. I truly believe that. You're beginning to realize that you might have put your foot in your mouth. Just a little bit. Stuffed a toe or two in that gob of yours, maybe. She sounds way too earnest for this to be a cover-up. Could it be possible that Stilza really does side with what Tizias call her, the Condescends? And that she doesn't know about Tizias' underground research after all? But the book was right there. You're so confused. Talking about this is clearly distressing Stilza though, so you drop it, focusing on finishing up her hair instead. It's pretty soft now that it's dry. You're not sure you've styled it correctly, but she seems pleased. Great work, nice, fantastic, you did an excellent job. You glow at the praise. You'd say thanks, but she's already passing you a bottle of nail polish. She really wants you to go all the way, huh? You twist it open and get to work. You're too focused on not smudging the teal color over the stately points of her claws to talk, but Stilza breaks the silence. I have a question for you. You nod, sticking your tongue out in concentration. So I have this acquaintance. This is the most tentative you've heard her so far. You weren't sure her vocal cords were capable of it. They are in a quadrant with someone who harbors views most would consider aversive, if not outright treasonous. She's obviously talking about herself and Tizias, but you don't want to point that out in case she gets upset again, so you just nod along thoughtfully. She didn't always... the mate spirit, I mean. It will blow over at some point. She must just be going through a difficult phase. But in the meantime, she could get into so much trouble. Stilza's lower lip wobbles like she's about to cry. You chew on the inside of your cheek, trying to figure out what to say. Talking to Tizias very much did not leave you with the impression that was a phase. She sounded pretty serious. Does Stilza's friend have any idea that this is going on? She looks at the drawer. So do you. Nope! You resist the urge to massage your temples. No idea at all? Absolutely not. Alright, okay. You can do this. A good first step might be for a friend to face up to the issue. You know, if there's the chance they have the tiniest inkling about what might be happening, so the two of them can talk about that. About it. Talk about it. Or talk about it? Yeah, you're no expert, but open discussion probably helps with relationship problems quite a bit. Plus, you ruminate to yourself. The more you think about it, the less it seems that Tizias leaving her controversial book out like that was an accident. It was right in front of Stelza's chair, after all. Maybe Tizias wanted Stelza to see it. You'd slick the last bit of color onto Stelza's pink claw a while ago, but you're both too wrapped up in the conversation to suggest that you move on to something else. She lets the polish dry while the two of you continue to talk. But my friend does not agree with her mate's rich sentiments. Discussing it would just cause unnecessary friction, wouldn't it? Maybe, but even so, addressing the issue is probably better than pretending it isn't there. Besides, quadrant mates can, coexist regardless of differing beliefs, right? Yeah, but you don't sound convincing even to yourself, but the platitudes seem to comfort Stelza somewhat. Maybe you're right. Carefully mindful of her just right nails, she wipes away a few tears, much to your horror. Was that the wrong thing to say? But then you notice that she's smiling. I've not spoken about that to anyone before now. Telling you about it was truly a load off my bellosac cavity. I am certain my friend will be grateful as well. I shall relay your advice accordingly as soon as I can. You smile back at her weakly. You haven't been able to relate to very much when it comes to Alternian life, but boy, can you relate to relationship drama. And trolls seem to have plenty of it. You hope everything turns out alright. For her friend. Since her voice is all sniffly and her eyelashes still wet, you retrieve a frilly box of hand tissues and hold it out for her. Hoping that will help, she pulls out a few and blows her nose on them with a sad honking noise. I should finish getting ready. She seems reluctant to get up though. You'd probably be the same, knowing you had to head into a serious business meeting after spelling your heart like that. Experiencing emotions is tiring. Eventually though, Stelza musters up enough energy to get to her feet. Much to your surprise, instead of immediately rushing off to complete her pre-meeting task, she pulls you into a tight hug. Thank you! You're a real friend! And there it is. Not colleague, not potential client, but that wonderful friendship word. Friends forever! Sweet! Alright, and that's it for Volume 13. Yeah, I said it like 50 minutes ago, but yeah, Volume 13 of Hiveswap Friendsim. We are relatively close to the end of Hiveswap Friendsim, and I am hoping very soon, if I can work on this upload schedule, we can move on to Friendsim 2. I am very excited about it and have refrained from spoiling it, any of it to myself. So it's a fresh viewing for you when you watch it, and for me when I play it. But yeah, if you like the video, like it, and if you want some more of my content, make sure to subscribe, and check out my other videos while you wait for the next upload. Have a good day, and do you do best. See ya!